When we talk about what makes a great teacher, it's so easy to get caught up in all the little tips and tricks. But what if the real secret isn't a checklist at all? What if it's about understanding two completely different worlds? Worlds that exist and, yeah, often collide right inside every single classroom.
Okay, take a look at this number, 50%. What do you think that represents? Well, according to some really groundbreaking research by the late Nuthall, this is, on average, how much stuff students in a classroom already know before the teacher even begins the lesson. Just let that sink in for a second. It completely changes the game, right? It means a teacher is never, ever starting with a blank slate. They're actually stepping into the middle of a story that's already playing out inside each student's head.
So let's start with the first world, the one the teacher builds. This is a universe of careful planning, of structure, of foresight, and it's all constructed long before the first student even walks through the door.
Yeah, this is so important. The most powerful lessons, the ones that really stick with you, they don't just happen by accident. They are designed. A truly effective teacher is like an architect, systematically planning every single element to build this solid, coherent structure for learning.
And believe me, there's a real process behind this architecture. This isn't just about, picking a fun activity for Friday. Good teachers are constantly analyzing their learners, designing very specific strategies, developing the materials, and then evaluating what's working and what's not. It's a deeply intellectual and systematic job. And all of that behind-the-scenes planning, it becomes reality from day one. It all comes down to creating clear, predictable procedures, like how you enter the room, how you ask for help, the simple stuff. That structure is what creates a safe, reliable environment where the real work, the messy business of learning, can actually begin to happen.
Okay, but here's the question that changes everything. We've just seen the teacher's beautifully ordered world, but that's only half the story.
So now, let's pull back the curtain and explore that second world. This is the hidden, often messy, and just incredibly complex universe that exists inside the mind of every single student.
And this quote just nails the fundamental reality for the learner, right? While the teacher's lesson plan might be clear and logical and certain, the actual process of thinking and learning for a student is anything but. It is hard work, and there's absolutely no guarantee you're going to get it right.
And just think about everything a student is juggling at once. Their working memory, the actual mental space they have for learning, is incredibly limited. At the exact same time, they're trying to navigate this complex social world, wondering what their friends think, carrying burdens from home, all while trying to connect this brand new information to their own unique, and let's be honest, sometimes shaky foundation of knowledge. It's a lot.
And this brings us to probably the most crucial point of all. There's no such thing as a single lesson. The teacher might deliver one lesson, but it's being received and interpreted 30 different ways, filtered through 30 unique sets of experiences, emotions, and thoughts. Research actually confirms that what each student walks away learning can be almost entirely unique to them. 30 different experiences.
So, what happens when the teacher's orderly blueprint slams into the student's messy, chaotic reality? Well, this is where we find what you could call the great disconnect. It's really the central tension of all teaching.
I mean, look at how stark this disconnect is. The teacher intends to create this straight, logical line of thinking, but the student learns in a jagged, unpredictable path. The teacher is focused on a core concept they need everyone to get, but each student walks away with their own personalized version. And while the teacher is zeroed in on the academic content, the student is just trying to manage a non-stop flow of social cues.
Now, the most extreme version of this disconnect was famously called the banking concept of education by Paulo Freire. This is the idea that the teacher acts as if the student's inner world just doesn't exist at all. They treat them like empty bank accounts, where you can just deposit knowledge. It's a total failure to see the actual human being sitting on the other side of the desk.
Okay, so if great teaching isn't about ignoring the student's world, and it's not about totally abandoning the teacher's blueprint either, then what is it? Well, it's about building a bridge between those two worlds.
And this right here is the secret. The most effective, most powerful teaching techniques aren't just clever ways to transmit information. They are fundamentally acts of empathy. They are designed specifically to acknowledge and respond to that complex, messy, inner world of the student.
Building that bridge really starts with the foundation of human connection. Philosophies like restorative practices, for example, shift the whole focus from just controlling behavior with rewards and punishments to actively building relationships.
It's pretty simple. When students feel seen and respected and understood as people, that's when the bridge has its footings.
So what does this empathy actually look like in a real moment? Well, a technique like break it down is a perfect example. Instead of just giving the right answer, which is the old banking model, right? The teacher finds the exact point where the student went wrong and offers the smallest possible hint. This respects the student's own thinking process and, more importantly, empowers them to find the solution themselves. That is how you build the bridge, moment by moment.
And when you start thinking about building this bridge, it points to a much, much deeper purpose for education. Which brings us, really, to the true goal of teaching.
For thinkers like Freire, an education that truly respects the inner world of the learner does so much more than just teach facts. It empowers them. It gives them the tools to look critically at their own reality and to become active agents in their own lives. To go from being objects in the world to being subjects who can actually shape it.
And this brings it all right back to the teacher. Because if the goal is to build a bridge of authentic human connection, then that bridge has to be built out of the teacher's own self. As Parker Palmer so beautifully put it, we teach who we are. The best teaching isn't about hiding behind some method. It's about showing up with integrity, with identity, and with the courage to connect your world to your students.
So, we end with this question. If the classroom is the place where these two incredibly complex worlds meet, the teacher's blueprint and the student's hidden universe, then what we're asking teachers to do is so much bigger than just delivering a curriculum. It's about building a space for connection, for understanding, and for mutual transformation. It's not just an act of instruction, it's a profound act of creation.